People say Australian hardcore music has changed in both its style and in its popularity. I'd have to say that nothing has changed Australian hardcore more than the internet and social media. But is this a bad thing?
I think there's a difference between using online to your advantage and just being a bit over the top with it, I think, or a bit serious. I think too many bands probably take themselves a bit too serious, and too many bands want to be massive instead of actually just being a good band and getting big. And being a hardcore band doesn't necessarily mean you're ever going to be big. Like, it sort of doesn't really mean if you can get shows, well then good luck to you. But there's probably more bands out there that can't get shows that are getting shows, and there's more bands that are rehearsing, 6 nights a week or whatever, than are actually putting out releases.
One of the most popular venues for upcoming hardcore bands to perform is at the club Hot Dan.
Social network has definitely changed how bands interpret getting successful. Look, easy way, if you rely nothing on play counts and fans on Facebook, you will not be a successful band.
It's definitely a very powerful tool in regards to marketing and even just letting kids know about upcoming dates and news about the band. It's probably the best way to let people know, actually.
The one, the 99%!
More of the public domain is now present in the private domain, so that people individually and in their homes have access to a greater breadth of information, but also a greater breadth of contact with people. It's also really changed the styles of communication that people engage in. So, I mean, at a really basic level, that has to do with the amount of time people spend interacting and the kind of time that would spend actually online communicating with one another. But also the forms of communication that people use online mean that people have learned to communicate and develop really strategic ways of communicating rapidly with one another, using things in kind of short-term bursts rather than in prolonged kind of interactions with people.
As social media became more popular for communication, it became another tool for bands for promotion. A new wave of bands came onto the scene which had a new approach to their audience, almost entirely online.
We're Capture the Crown!
Reaching 1 million views is like something that we never planned on ever having to happen, like within the next 10 years, let alone 3 months. It's just been out of control.
I could say the last 2 years have been a massive preparation, marketing wise, thinking about how to go about it in this scene, and we've stuck to the plan, and coming out like a well-established band and having the attributes of a well-established band has sort of hyped things up and made us a bit more well-known, and having the help from other friends and other bands in the industry has also benefited us a lot in getting those views and getting the publicity that we need. So.
Okay. We have Facebook, Twitter, Stickam, Tumblr, and Instagram.
And YouTube.
And YouTube as well.
And RedTube.
No one in the Australian music scene has really used the social media thing, and because we used it, it's worked to our advantage in such a big way, and yeah, I think in a lot of ways that pisses everybody off. Like, people wish they thought of it before, and now they're all angry at us and shit.
While particular bands believe an online strategy or approach is the way to go, others disagreed.
I don't think it's wrong, I just think it's not a smart strategy, probably. You find that bands that sort of take that approach, not working on their groundwork in their local country or whatever, they don't really have they can get a fan base, but not a solid fan base, not loyal fans, just sort of fans that hop on the trend bandwagon. And you find that a lot of bands that do that sort of have their moment in the spotlight, but they sort of fade away quicker than they sort of start up.
People would much rather see a live show than a recording any day. If you kind of don't use a lot of the social networking tools, you can be left behind a little bit. But you can't rely on it, that's what I'm getting at. You just can't say, well, this is the only way I'm going to promote my band and get my band out there.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and everyone, they're going to hate on you for the smallest thing, but you can't please everybody. But all you can do is just work with the people that you do please and make them happy, and if you change one person's life, then it's just amazing.
After the Crown hasn't played a show, but we've played all the fucking shows where there's 2 people there. We've played the shows where there's 100 people there, and we've done all the bullshit. We've spent a lot of money going around the country. We've done all that bullshit, and we're kind of like, well, we're sick of doing that, so let's pick up our game and go overseas and like get into big leagues.
Social media has fucking helped us.
Oh, bands, it makes the biggest thing, like when MySpace came along, it allowed a band, like my close exposure was through Parkway, and it allowed them to sort of probably tour overseas to a point where they could draw people in the UK and the US without having a local release or without having like a distribution type of network that they had back in Australia. And the only way that I guess a lot of people will be exposed to the band was through MySpace, and I guess the snowball effect that happened through that type of social media well before Twitter and Facebook and whatever else there is nowadays. So it just means that a person, in a good thing, it means that a person can, on the other side of the world, can find out about a band without having to spend months and months waiting for a mail order to arrive to their house. But in saying that, it also means I think too many bands are doing 2 things too quick, and I think the talent of actually being in a band nowadays isn't quite there.
Australian hardcore music has changed. It is now open to a much larger audience. It has many subgenres and different approaches. But really, in the end, all that matters is the music.
What?
Cinnamon!
I've been holding this burp in for like the last 5 minutes.
Wait, cut.
Cut! And YouTube.
And YouTube as well.
And RedTube.
And Pornhub.
Capture the cock RedTube. So we
Did you just do anything? Oh. I had to. It was lingering for That is our answer to the question. That is our. Did you pick that one up?
I can't do any more of that.
One of the most popular venues for hardcore bands to perform. It's at Hot Damn!